Good morning, my grade 7 students. How are you? Hope you are fine and safe at home. Today, our lesson is about photosynthesis, production of organic matter. It's page 36 in your book. So please open your book to page 36, 37 and follow with me. Ready? Let's start. At the end of this lesson, you are going to identify the necessary elements for photosynthesis and determine the process of photosynthesis. Let's start. Before starting our lesson, we are going to start with an attention grabber. And in this attention grabber, we are going to play a game, which is about photosynthesis needs. So I'm going to say some needs. You are going to stand up if they are the needs of photosynthesis and sit down if they are not. So let's start. The first need is water and mineral salts. Do photosynthesis needs water and mineral salts? Does photosynthesis need water and, and mineral salts? Yes, so you have to stand up. Stand up now. Let's continue. Photosynthesis needs carbon dioxide. Is it true? If it is, you have to stand up. What do you say? Great! So, yes, you have to stand up because photosynthesis needs carbon dioxide. Let's continue. Photosynthesis needs excellent light. Do you think that photosynthesis needs light? Great, so you have to stand up. Yes, photosynthesis needs light. The last thing is photosynthesis needs chlorophyll. What do you have to do? Do you have to stand up or you have to sit down? Awesome, so you have to stand up. Photosynthesis needs chlorophyll. Let's repeat the needs for photosynthesis together. Photosynthesis needs water and mineral salts. Photosynthesis needs carbon dioxide. Photosynthesis needs light and photosynthesis needs chlorophyll. Now, after we had fun in the attention grabber, it's time to do a small recap. So first, I want from you to remember what is photosynthesis. Great job! Yes, photosynthesis is the process by which plants produce their own food. So plants produce their food using photosynthesis. And we all know that green plants, they contain chlorophyll because the chlorophyll is the thing that gives the plant a green color. And as we reviewed, plants, they make their food through photosynthesis, and the food that they produce is called starch, which is an organic matter. So the starch is an organic matter and is the food produced through photosynthesis by the plant. Keep that in mind because we are going to use it. And we learned from the last session the experiment that we used to test the presence of starch, which is starch plus iodine solution. What color it's going to give? Excellent, the blue color if there is starch. So if we have starch with the iodine solution, we are going to have a blue color. Now it's time to think and answer. What does it mean, crude sap? What are the constituents of crude sap? Think, then answer. Excellent! So crude sap is a mixture of water and mineral salts. Now, what are the constituents of elaborated sap? Think, then answer. Excellent! So elaborated sap is composed of water and organic matter. It's made of water and organic matter. So we learned that crude sap is a mixture of water and mineral salts, and elaborated sap is composed of water and organic matter. Now let's review together the process of photosynthesis before answering to the question. So I want from you now to observe this image and to tell me how photosynthesis happens. Think, then answer. Excellent, my grade 7. So, first, in the presence of sunlight, crude sap, which is a mixture of water and mineral salts, as we said earlier, is absorbed by the roots through the root hairs. Then, crude sap is transported by the conducting vessels to the different parts of the plant through the stem, to the fruits, to the leaves. Meanwhile, the plant is gonna take the carbon dioxide, as you can see in the picture, the blue arrow, from the air. It's gonna take it from the air, and it's gonna enter how? It's gonna enter through the tiny pores that they are called stomata. And then it's gonna release the oxygen also through those tiny pores. And finally, crude sap, it's gonna become elaborated sap, and then it's distributed to all the parts of the plants. So that's how photosynthesis happens. Now it's time to ask you some questions. Are you ready for the fun? Yay! Let's start. So I want from you now to indicate the necessary elements for photosynthesis. What are the necessary elements for photosynthesis? Great! So the necessary elements for photosynthesis are carbon dioxide, crude sap, chlorophyll, and light. And don't forget that crude sap is a mixture of water and mineral salts. Now the second question is, I want from you now to compare the composition of the crude sap with the elaborated sap. So what is the composition? Compare. Make sure to compare the composition of the crude sap with that of the elaborated sap. Think, then answer. Excellent! So the crude sap is composed of water and mineral salts. I used while because I'm comparing. The elaborated sap is composed of water and organic matter. So the difference is in the composition. So crude sap is composed of water and mineral salts. However, the elaborated sap is composed of water and organic matter. Make sure to use the connector of comparison, which is while, however, but. Now where the constituents of crude and elaborated sap comes from? Think, then answer. Where the constituents of crude sap and elaborated sap comes from? Awesome! So they come from the elements of the crude sap. Where they come from? They come from the soil in the case of terrestrial plants, the plants that live in the soil, and from water in case for aquatic plants, so the plants that live in water. So for the crude sap, the constituents of crude sap, which they are water and mineral salts, they come from the soil in the case of terrestrial plants, the plants that live in the soil, and they come from water in case for the plants that are aquatic, so they live in water. As for the elaborated sap, the organic matter of the elaborated sap is synthesized or comes from the leaves because it's synthesized in the leaves by photosynthesis. So, to wrap it up, crude sap comes from the soil in case of terrestrial plants and from the water in case for aquatic plants. However, the organic matter of the elaborated sap is synthesized in the leaves by photosynthesis. Ready for this question now? I want from you now to indicate the path followed by the crude sap and the elaborated sap. Yay! Excellent! So the path followed by the crude sap is roots, stems, then the leaves. Since the crude sap is absorbed by the roots, the mineral salts and the water are present in the soil. So it's absorbed by the roots first, then it's gonna go up to the stem, then it's gonna go up to the leaves. However, the path followed by the elaborated sap is the opposite. Because it's synthesized in the leaves, it's gonna go from the leaves to the stems to the roots. Now, through what structures the crude sap and the elaborated sap are translocated? Excellent! So they are translocated through the conducting vessels. They are transported by the conducting vessels. I want from you to conclude. So I want from you to write on a paper the conclusion that can be made from this lesson and to send it to me. So I'm going to give you some time before concluding this lesson. So think about the conclusion. What do you conclude? Write it on a paper and send it to me. So we conclude that crude sap and elaborated sap are translocated by the conducting vessels. They are transported by the conducting vessels. The path followed by the crude sap is the roots, stems, then the leaves. And the path followed by the elaborated sap is the leaves, stems, then the roots. Study this conclusion very well and see you next time. Bye.